Alright, we're back. Hello and welcome back to Cypher. For the last time, I'm gonna say. I've been kind of putting this off, and when I start putting a game off, and just when I think, should I play it? And it makes me go, I'd rather play something else, then it's probably time to leave. Because yeah, I think we've gotten to the point of Cypher where it's a bit over my head and all of that. And you know, the whole backseating chat thing is fun and all, but it does take a long time, and then if I can't really understand it myself, I mean, not that I didn't understand what we were doing last time, but just, it kind of gets to a point where it is just brute forcing. I mean, I guess that's what deciphering stuff is. It is just brute forcing stuff, making kind of educated assumptions, and then seeing if they work out, but it doesn't seem to really be a good thing to do on a stream, I feel, personally. Maybe it could have worked in some way. Maybe some people do think it works, but I don't think we're gonna be solving this. I don't know. I'll maybe try it a little bit more. I think we haven't checked the hint either for this. And I mean, now it's been like a long time, so I don't really remember like what my notes are about. I have some notes and I don't know what they're about. If anything, I don't think they have anything to do with this. And yeah, this whole Vignere thing is a bit much for me, but the main reason I wanted to play again was just, yeah, we can take a quick look at this, check out the hint. I would imagine the hint, we can just check it out right now. I would imagine the hint is going to be something kind of irrelevant, or not really irrelevant, but just, it's probably going to say, like, the key is 3 characters, or the key is, like, a sequence, or whatever. We figured out, like, a couple of different ones. What was it? I forgot that too. Yeah, I don't remember anything, but let's try it. DUFLUE. Try to find... Okay, thank you. Twitch, 1 second. That's weird. I thought I set my phone to silent. I guess not. Maybe I, like, unsilenced it. What did it just say? DUFLUE. Try to find rotations which result in very few low-frequency letters, such as K, Q, X, J, or Z. Oh boy. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. This is probably too much for me. Because I don't even know what they're saying here. I'm just writing this down quickly. Rotations. What do they mean by rotations, then? Which result in very few low-frequency letters. And I mean, that just sounds like, again, just trial and error it. Just keep testing over and over and over until you see one that just doesn't result in that. But then, yeah, I'm not really understanding, like, how you determine, like, what the keyword is going to be, even if we can determine that the key length is, like, 3 in this sense. I think that was pretty likely that it was going to be 3 here, right? Because of so many ones that, like, repeat many times. God, I wish I should have, like, saved chat from last time where people were counting stuff up and whatever. Yeah, I think... did I even say this? I think the main reason I wanted to check this out again is just to kind of take a look. This is the advanced puzzle. It's fine if I can't solve this. We can just, like, take a look through the rest. Just kind of tour it, because all of the doors are open. I kind of just want to, like, look at what else there is. Read some stuff, see if I understand some of it. Maybe we can solve, like, 1 or 2 of each one or something, and then just kind of leave it there. So, that's probably going to be what I do today. So number 5 is Mechanized Cryptography. Enigma. What? Yeah, I don't understand what's happening there. With the arrival of mechanical cryptography machines in the 20th century, cipher complexity exploded. A person enciphering or deciphering a message no longer needed to understand a cipher in order to use it. I wish that was the same for solving them here. and messages which previously could take hours to encrypt were now enciphered almost instantly. Radio communication became an invaluable tool during World War II, but the ease with which transmissions could be intercepted meant strong encryption became vital. The German army chose to adopt inventor Arthur Scherbius' Enigma machine, which offered an unprecedented level of encryption. When a letter is pressed on the Enigma keyboard, an electrical signal flows into a scrambler disk. This disk has 26 inputs and 26 outputs, which are connected internally in a random fashion, so a signal entering at input 1 may exit at output 14. The signal passes through 3 of these disks, then is reflected, so it passes back through the same 3 disks again, before finally displaying the enciphered letter on a lamp board. So far, this is just a monoalphabetic substitution cipher. However, Enigma's strength comes from the fact that the disks rotate. The first disk rotates on every press. When it reaches a notch in the wheel, it will cause the next disk to rotate, and so the second will eventually cause the third disk to rotate. This means the machine is a polyalphabetic cipher, which can cycle through many unique substitution alphabets before repeating. Great. Oh, is it just... Oh, it's just 17,000. I thought it was like that multiplied by something, but no, just 17,576. To make the machine... I thought it was like to the power of 26 raised by whatever. I don't know. To make the machine even more secure, up to 10 pairs of letters on the keyboard can be swapped using patch cables, and the scrambler disks can be removed and their positions set in 6 different configurations. Combined with the 17,000 possible starting rotations for the scrambler disks, the total number of initial configurations for the machine is over... What is that? Billions? Sextillions, is it? 15 sextillions? I'm not entirely sure. As long as the machine is set to the correct initial setting, it will decipher a message encrypted using the same settings. The initial setting is therefore the key. The German army used a new key each day and sent out top-secret codebooks every month, containing the initial Enigma settings. I mean, that makes sense. Doesn't that just mean that this is, like, impossible to crack without having the cipher? Which kind of... What was it? The key? The initial setting? Yeah, without the settings. So, what are we gonna do here? Oh boy. Enigma. Model 1. Type hint. Scramblers. Set initial rotation using letter windows. Lamp board. Lights up enciphered letter. Keyboard. Inputs. Plaintext. So you tap H or something, and then a different letter will just light up, and then you write that down, and you copy it over by hand as your encrypted message, I guess? That's interesting. Plug board. And you can swap those around. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that seems very clever. Scrambler 1, 2, and 3, and reflector. Note scramblers rotate on key press before signal flows. Okay. Oh god. What are we gonna do here? Sydney. Intel. This message was encrypted with a prototype cipher machine which uses a single scrambler and a reflector with the following internal wiring. Input-output. Oh god, I don't think I understand this at all. What the hell does this mean? I mean, isn't it just Intel? Nope. So we're supposed to put this through this machine or something? Is this the last room? I think it is the last, main room, right? No, there's one more as well. There's room 6, and then we have the, final special room as well. So yeah, this is not even its final form. Challenge puzzles. Uh-huh. Yeah, chat is also a little, empty right now. So if no one else is here to really help with this, then there's no chance that I'm gonna do it. Prototype Cypher machine. Single scrambler. Yeah, I don't think I understand fully what they mean by scrambler and reflector. Like, what they actually do. Yeah, I don't understand the arrows at all. Yeah, again, this is the thing that I was kind of like... I was hoping that this would be a little more handholdy and like teaching you step by step how to think about solving them. It feels like this game, you really need to have an interest and knowledge about ciphers going into it and decrypting things, or you're not going to be able to do anything. Like, that's why I like Hexel so much, because it's a puzzle game that anyone can understand because it's very simple, but then gets very complicated when you like get to the harder levels and stuff. But this is just like complicated right off the bat, unless you're someone that is engaged in this kind of stuff and already knows about it. Did you finish that advanced puzzle? I absolutely did not. I'm just skipping that. I mean, I might skip like most of them. Today I'm just gonna be kind of checking out some puzzles and like taking a quick look at them. If we can't solve them, I'm just gonna move on. I just want to like... This is going to be the last time I play Cypher for sure. So I'm just looking at puzzles and kind of seeing what there is. Reading some interesting cryptography stuff, probably. Because yeah, like I don't know at all what to do here. I guess let's get a hint. Why not? Remember, the scrambler moves before the signal flows. The reflector doesn't move. Yeah, I get that, but like, how would you know how it moves? That's what I don't get, because here you see it like just jumping. Oh, it just moves one step at a time. Oh, okay. Ah, okay, I think I understand then. So it's like, we like type a G here or something. Well, we type a Z. So we have an input of Z, which then will move this. So a Z becomes... Would that be Y then? Which way does it work? Yeah, I should definitely skip the advanced ones. I mean, honestly, some of these non-advanced ones might be a bit too difficult as well. The subject matter is niche and complicated enough to warrant a sort of story mode that just takes you through the game and basically introduces you to the concept. Yeah, exactly. That's what I would have hoped for this game. Like, just a crash course in it. Like, for example, a good example of this kind of concept is Glitch Space, is a game that unfortunately wasn't fully developed, but it's free on Steam. I think it's still on Steam. And that was a really fun game because it taught you about kind of basics of programming. And I'm not a programmer, and yet I could understand everything that it taught me. And like, sure, maybe it's oversimplifying many things and stuff, but I think that's kind of nice for games like this to teach you about stuff like this, logical mechanisms and systems, without really needing you to already be like experienced at them. And yeah, I think I see how this works too. I'm just trying to figure out, like, so in case of like it being Z, yeah, it just moves this way. So like, if we type a Z at the start here, then it would have moved over here, so U would be here. So the first letter would be U, I think. This is going to be hard to keep track of. So let's just write this down. Sydney. So the first one should be U. And then like it's shifted one step. So now we want to then go to Y and shift it 2 steps in that sense. So that would also be a U in that case, wouldn't it? The abandoned glitch space? I think so, yeah, because Space Budgie, the like, it was a university group, I think, that made it. They disbanded, and I think they just kind of like dropped any plans of making anything of that game. Because yeah, you definitely should play it if you haven't. I think it's a really good game, and just like, yeah, doesn't get too complicated, but still doesn't hold your hand too much. It's just a very fun experience, and a pretty short one too. Does it shift before or after? It shifts before. Every time the scrambler, like when you input, it already shifts one. But yeah, so doesn't that mean that it becomes UU? And then D. So from a D, that would shift 3 spots. Wait, is it just UUUUU? Is that what they're doing? No, maybe not. I might be not understanding this correctly. But then N would shift 4 steps. Yeah, I think I'm doing this wrong. And then I... Okay, I'm just gonna test this. I think this is probably wrong. Yeah, okay, so I think I'm maybe doing it like in the opposite... Oh, right, yeah, now I'm just doing the scrambler instead of the reflector. So how did that work again? Because yeah, I think we want to type this word, essentially. We want to type Zidney, or is it the opposite? That's what I don't know. Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe this is the word we're decrypting from this, so we're actually going the opposite way around? But then I don't know what this reflector means down here. What this string means. You can get P or X. Yeah, I'm not too sure. Because if we think of it as like going the other way around... Oh, I guess I was... Wait, I was doing something wrong, I think. Matching letters are wired together. Oh boy. What was the hint again? Let me just check that. The scrambler moves before the signal flows. The reflector doesn't move. Plain text begins U. So it does begin with U. So that does mean that it, like, moves one step. But in which way? Why does it move, like, to the left? When over here, doesn't it move to the right? Oh, I see. So it's like we're typing E, so we start all the way up here at input-output, and then just check... Hold on, let me check that again. Okay, I think I'm starting to understand. So when it's E, it just goes down to the one right below it, and then goes to the next, the like scrambled set of it, which is the whole like rewiring thing, and then goes down below that to the reflector, and that's what we get as the output. Okay. Okay, I think I understand then. So, if we begin with Z here, it already moves before the output, so these all move to the left. So Z becomes Y, and then we find Y in the second row, which is right here. But, oh god, then it has moved, right? So, like, at that point, Y will be one step to the right, and the reflector doesn't move. So it becomes D. But then what is this final line in that case? What does that do? Yeah, scrambler moves, reflector doesn't, they said. Yeah, why does this one only have one reflector line, whereas this one has two? I'm not really sure what that means. Is that just to, like, help you or whatever? There's no reflector in the animation? Isn't there? Yeah, I don't quite understand this. And we got the plain text. Z should at some point become U. So let's just like try and figure out how that would happen. So if we have input Z, which then it shifts, goes down to Y, which becomes, like with the scrambler, you jump over to here then. But again, that's moved. So would that go down to D? No, that wouldn't be... Yeah, how would we get the output of U? Other way around. U is the plain text. Oh, I see. So if you follow the encryption process, U should become Z. Okay, so this is the encrypted thing, and we're trying to figure out what was encrypted. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Okay, so if we start with U instead, then that becomes a T, which we then go down to T again. But then, yeah, again, I'm not understanding why there's two lines here on the reflector, what that means. Is that just to help, like... Ah, no, I don't understand that. First letter M? How do you get that? Yeah, let me know if you need to like see something else, if I should go over there again or read something out. Yeah, I'm still not understanding the like last part. I understand the scrambler moving and like I'm just gonna go look at this again. Like when you put the input, it just goes down to... Yeah, it's as if there's one too many rows. You think you made a mistake with the M? Like, I'm almost thinking maybe we just ignore this row, because that's just the alphabet. Maybe this is supposed to be the specific reflector. Matching letters are wired together. So if we instead start from the bottom then with a Z, if that's being reflected, would that go up to this L? And then we jump to the L here? But then it would have shifted one spot, so it would actually be an M? Yeah, I mean, that could be what you said. In that case, maybe. And then the second one would be Y. So from here, go up to U, find the U here, but then it's shifted 2 spots. So, I mean, W, no, that doesn't really make any sense. I guess I'll try it this way just to see if it works. So then D becomes P, shifts over here. Musa? Nope, that wasn't right. Yeah, good guesses at least. I have nothing so far. Where was I? D becomes P, and then shift 3, so that would be like an S, but yeah, I think this is probably wrong. I would imagine it's gonna be a word, not just like random letters. Alright, so I got something, but this is probably wrong. Yeah, that's also wrong. Yeah, this is the confusing part. Let me just like read this again. How does this reflector work? You should have a little bit of an easier time reading the text now as well, since it's in 1080p now. It passes through 3 disks and then is reflected, so it passes back through the same 3 disks again. I don't know exactly what that means. And there's no way we can know, like, if there's multiple. I mean, I guess that's probably going to come into play later. When there's multiple scramblers, it'll say, like, the second scrambler rotates after this many key presses and whatever. Matching letters are scrambled, or whatever it said. What was that about? I'm not really getting anything. The reflector doesn't move. Oh, I think it's saying, like, the internal wirings. I think we're just supposed to kind of ignore this alphabet, and this alphabet is just here to, like, show that, like, okay, the scrambler's wiring does this, and the reflector does this. So maybe it's just, like, you got MKCZA. Also not correct. Let me test this again then. So if we start with the input of U instead, that would become an L, and then we just go straight down to Z. Yeah, and then we get Z. Okay, so you're just supposed to ignore the alphabet on both sides here. So in this case, so then we start from the bottom. Yeah. Okay, so Y is here. We just ignore this row, but now the problem is the, like, rotation. Yeah, the letters on the scrambler and the reflector are arbitrary. That's, like, why they're a scrambler and whatever. And, like, this is kind of just confusing you, having the alphabet here. But then, yeah, how would we do that? So yeah, Y has already rotated twice in that case. So we go to the left, right? So A goes up to U. And then we find U here. But then it's rotated twice, so it's... No. I think I'm doing that wrong. Oh, I just went to this one. Yeah, no, that is correct. So... No, is it? Wait, why? Oh boy. Because, I mean, in this case, because the scramblers rotate before the key press, that means that now when we're decrypting it, it happens after, right? So... Oh man, so at what point would we move? Yeah, so that would be like we go up and then rotate over twice. So... Let me think about the Z again. So Z goes up to L, which goes over here. No? What is happening now? How did I just reached the conclusion of how we got Z to U, and now I forgot. U starts here, goes down to... It shifts 1, becomes L, and then we skip from L... No, we just go straight down, yeah. No skipping around here, just the first one. So U goes to 1 notch to L, which becomes a Z. So in this case we do Z, straight up to L, 1 notch to the right, because it's the first letter. So now the second one, which is Y... We go from Y to U, then 2 letters to C, I think. So it's U, C. Then D. Down here to P. And then becomes a K. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know if this is correct. N. B. Wait, is that O or N? This is letter 4? So 4 steps? So O. And then I goes to T. This is probably not right. If I just get that, Ucko. Nope. Still not right. Okay, so once again, plain text starts with U. So we go from U, down, it shifts 1 letter. Yeah, it shifted 1 step. So it follows the T path. Wait. Ends up at the position labeled Q? Not sure how you see that. How are you getting it to Q? Q is reflected to E? But we already know U becomes encrypted as Z. Because as far as I understand, because we have the first letter, the first plaintext letter is U, and the encrypted version is Z, doesn't that just mean if we start from here, we go down to this R, but it's shifted 1 step to L, and then we go down, we skip this line of alphabet stuff, because that's just to note it, and just going down to the cipher of the reflector would be Z. Right, I think I'm just like doing it in the wrong order. The like shift, probably. So U basically becomes T. Then Y. No, I'm just getting C from it. And it's not rotating the other direction as far as I can tell. Matching letters are wired together. I guess matching letters are wired together. They just mean like between the scrambler and reflector, like M and M are in both of them, K and K. But like that doesn't mean anything, right? That doesn't do anything for actually solving it. That's just noting that these have been wired together. You think matching letters are wired together just means T connects to T? No, I don't think so, because again, I think the second line and the fourth line are completely just like, don't even think about them, as far as I understand. Like, this line is the scrambler, and this line is the reflector. If we look at the diagram here... No, I guess, I mean, this one has multiple. No, I guess, okay, No, that's not it. But then how do we get an input of U to become a Z instead? If we instead, like, go... You got Ucko? Yeah, that's what I got as well, and it was wrong. That was also the thing I tried. So, I think we're doing something backwards. Yeah, again, I really wish there were more hints, more incremental hints, and more, like, basic explain it like I'm 5 explanations for this game would help a lot. Because, like, I can tell there's something that I can understand here. It's just not really conveyed well enough to get it, especially for, like, the first puzzle of this type. I think very soon we should just move on, because again, I don't think I'm playing this more than today, so if we just want to, like, check out the other stuff, we probably just have to give up. I just kind of wanted to solve maybe one of them. The diagrams, I mean, the diagrams just tell you, like, how the actual machine works. So, like, in this diagram, we would skip the scrambler 2 and 3, because we only have one scrambler. But then, like, what does that mean? Yeah, okay, that might be the key here, that, like, we're not... Maybe we are supposed to... So if we input U, it goes down to T, we then, like, jump to this T, which, like, goes down to P, and then we jump all the way over to P here, go up to V, and then V here. No. Yeah, it like it goes through the scramblers in both directions, but... Ah, man. I think this is too much. I think we might need to give up on this unless someone else has any other ideas. Yeah, you need to apply Scrambler 1, then Reflector, then Scrambler 1 in reverse. But I don't understand how you do that. What is what here? Yeah, maybe I should just even, like, look up a walkthrough and just see what is the second letter, just so we can see that. The P and the G is the hint? Oh, so, like, you're saying if you input P, it will output as a G. Yeah. But how does that happen then? So if we input P... Yeah, that's... I don't understand, like, what line that you have to follow here to get G from that. I think having, like, an actual mechanical implementation of this in the game, so you could see the scramblers actually move, would probably help a lot more than just having text and just do it all in your head. Yeah, there's a lot I wish this game had to make it more accessible. P to H? I don't know how you're getting that. P to H, H to D, D to G? How are you getting any of those steps? Because, I mean, the scrambler would go this way, so, like, from P it wouldn't go to H this way. I mean, I guess it would in reverse, if that's what you're saying. Yeah, maybe that's it. But then how do you get from H to D? Oh, down here? H goes to D. And then D jumps... Okay, yeah, up one more step to G. Yeah, I think you're onto something there. So if we then, again, input U, that becomes L. Then L becomes G. Then G... No, becomes E. That doesn't add up. That doesn't become Z. Unless I did that wrong. Oh no, yeah, I did do it wrong, because it's the opposite way around. So U becomes I becomes P, but then, yeah, P just becomes I again, so that doesn't work either. How do you get it to become a Z? Alright, I'm gonna say we have 5 minutes left on this. If no one has any ideas for actually, like, how to solve it, we have to move on. Because otherwise I'm not, like, looking at anything else today. I think you're doing the P to H step wrong. Yeah. Which way it rotates? I mean, I think it... Looking at this, it looks like it rotates to the left, right? So, like, it starts with E, and then it's rotating one step to the left on each letter. But do you then need to reverse that? Because this is how you get the encryption. Yeah, so you need to rotate to the right instead when solving it. You get U to Z following Zirgo's method? Yeah, I also get U to Z. Oh no, not U to Z, I got P to G. How do you get U to Z using that? Do we start with U or do we start with Z? Because the only thing we have is the encryption. I'm just waiting for someone to say something because I have nothing anymore. Input U, Scrambler 1 U, which lines up with reflector A. Okay, I'm already lost. Input U. But the Scrambler moves like before you even input the U, so wouldn't the U go to either T or V? Like, it lines up over here, but... Rotate Scrambler to the right now. Yeah, sorry, I don't understand that at all. Too bad we don't have, like, you know, on-screen, like, drawing or something, so you could, like, show it. Are you just saying that, like, U goes down... U just jumps over here immediately, and then, like, for the reflector, that would be a Y, but it scrambles to the right once? No. No, that would then become a, like, T or something. Or R. Yeah, I don't get it. 1 minute left! Or I'm moving on. I mean, I guess if you're understanding it, if you can work out, like, what Sydney then becomes, we can just input that. Because, yeah, I guess it's one thing to, like, solve it yourself, and another to try and explain it to someone, like, how you solve it and how to understand it. It's Zydni. Z-Y-D-N-I. Reflector is ignored? I don't think that's correct. Reflector is ignored. P goes to H. H scrambled to from G. Well, the time is up, so take your screenshot now if you want to, like, try and solve this while we look at other stuff. I can just go back and input this, but yeah, it's done. I'm not understanding this one. I don't get how you're supposed to, like, rotate things around in what way. Again, I feel like they really should have more incremental puzzles and tutorial puzzles, like, really showing you this is the steps that it takes, and then take out, like, one aspect at a time to let you ease into it would really make way more sense. Oh. Alright, so let's just take a look at this one. This message is encrypted with the same prototype Cypher machine, but the Scrambler's starting orientation is unknown. Messages from this command post always begin with a Roman numeral 15. None of that means anything to me. I have no idea what that means. There are only 26 possible starting rotations. Look for one where Q equals X. Why X? Or do you just mean, like... What? Why Q equals X? I mean, it was a small x, so I don't imagine they mean, like, the letter X. It's just... I don't understand what they mean by that. It's just, yeah, all of the puzzles in this don't really... Because XV is 15? Yeah, but what would that do? Yeah, I'm not sure about that. But, like, all of the puzzles here don't have any logical... Like, they're not puzzles. They're just, you know... It's just brute forcing, which is what decrypting is, I suppose. But yeah, it just doesn't really work for streaming and trying to, like, work your way out, because it is just trial and error. Again, with educated guesses, which... way more educated guesses than I can do. The plaintext message begins with the Roman numeral 15. Oh, in that sense. Oh, okay. So Q becomes X, H becomes V, and then we have like, so it's XV and then it's a 6-letter word, basically. Okay, alright, I understand that aspect at least, but let's ignore that. Spies have successfully captured a complete Enigma machine and codebook. The internal wirings for the remaining scramblers are as follows. Yeah, this just means nothing. Let's ignore it. Let's go to the next chamber and just do some reading instead. Digital cryptography. Binary. I'm probably not going to understand anything here either. I think I've made peace with that fact. I don't understand cryptography and decrypting stuff, so yeah, let's just look at some of this. Modern-day cryptography continues to use steganography, transposition and substitution techniques, combined with the speed of the mechanized era, and with greater key lengths to create vastly complex ciphers. One important difference is that digital ciphers work on the binary representations of letters instead of working directly with the letters themselves. For example, using ASCII encoding, or however you want to pronounce that, A is represented by the sequence that. Why does it become that? How is that the representation for A? I don't know. Digital steganography allows the binary representation of a message to be hidden in any type of digital file. Often it has no noticeable artifact for the user and can be extremely well hidden. However, forensic scrutiny of the file will still reveal the message. Digital transposition is particularly effective as a plaintext letter. What? Is particularly effective as a plaintext letter is now fractionalized into many digits, which can be separated. Shuffling the positions of these numbers now also has the effect of changing the letter itself. Yeah, this is just going in my eyes, coming out my mouth, not passing by my brain. Digital substitution can be performed by combining a plaintext letter's binary sequence and a key text letter's binary sequence using an XOR, exclusive OR, logic gate. This process is symmetrical, and combining a ciphertext with its key will return it back into plaintext. Modern ciphers split the plaintext up into blocks, which are enciphered using a series of substitution and transposition steps. Encipherment is repeated in many rounds and uses keys of at least 128 bits to create ciphertexts, which are resistant to all known forms of attack. Yeah. Yep. Cool. Great. A is 65. Why is A 65? I mean, that explains why A was like 1 here and 1 there. That becomes 65, but why is A 65? ASCII table is arbitrary? Oh, so it's just arbitrary that the fact that A is 65 is just something they just randomly decided? Ah. Okay, I mean, I guess that's why it's a good cipher, or whatever. And I see XOR gate, yeah. Okay, I think I understand, like, how that happens. Is this just like 1 digit? Does this just all become... No. ASCII is meant to be the obvious and intuitive part. Great. Nothing to do with the cipher. Alright, I'm just gonna move on. Hello. None of this is happening. Image? Basic encryption standard. To encrypt, arrange text and key into 4x4 blocks. Holy shit, this game is way too complicated for me, man. I don't understand anything I'm looking at. And this isn't even the challenge area. Good lord. Yeah, this game needs like 10 other games of lower difficulty prior to this, and then maybe I could get the hang of it. The set of 12 puzzles will require a mixture of cryptanalysis and research outside of the game. And it's just like ciphers. It's just like, here are things, solve them. Yeah. Music. Oh shit. And we can't get into the super secret area because I haven't figured this out. You need 32 completed puzzles. Yeah, that's not happening. Good God, man. The perfect cipher. Well, I mean, I think I've... Oh, here we go. Famous unsolved ciphers. Sure, let's read this. Beale, in 1885, Virginia, hotel owner Robert Morris published a pamphlet containing the story of a guest who left a set of important papers in his care, but never returned to collect them. The papers included a note and 3 cryptograms, which supposedly contained directions to a stash of buried gold. The second cryptogram can be deciphered using the Declaration of Independence as a key. The others remain unbroken. Oh boy. You got BAP fee for that other one? I'll check it in a second. I'm not sure which one you mean exactly. Dagapeyev? As is tradition, at the end of his book on cryptography, Russian author Alexander Dagapeyev created this challenge for fellow cryptographers. Since publishing the book, he's forgotten how he enciphered the message, and it has continued to puzzle cryptanalysts ever since. Great. Feynman. While working at Los Alamos, physicist Richard Feynman was passed a set of 3 cryptograms. We've heard about him in The Witness. From an unknown fellow scientist. The first was discovered to be a transposition cipher, which counts back 5 letters at a time from the end. The second and third ciphers are still unsolved. Yeah, I was confused about that. I was wondering which one you mean. Was it BAPFI? Because we already know it, and it starts with U. So that can't be correct if that's the one you're thinking of. You think the hint was meaning to say that Z goes to you? I don't think so. It specifically said that plain text, it begins with plain text U. Like the first letter of the answer is U. Serial killer the Zodiac, but I mean, I'll try out what you're saying in a second. Serial killer the Zodiac sent several enciphered messages to local San Francisco newspapers during the late 1960s. The first was solved by a member of the public, but the second has never been cracked. Interest in solving it remains high, as the deciphered text may offer some clue to the Zodiac's identity. Alright, well, let's go back and check this one. Nope, wrong area. Yeah, that's not right either. And yeah, the hint says plain text begins U. So like the plain text of that became this cipher starts with a U. So we already know that U encrypts into a Z. But again, I don't know how. So I mean, I guess I've now looked at everything that we can look at without cheating. I mean, I could just cheat. Again, maybe we should just look up like the solution to this and just see what the second letter is. Just to see, like, can we figure out how that happens? How a second letter becomes Y? Would be kind of interesting to have, like, a walkthrough for this game. I mean, there are walkthroughs for it, but I'm sure most of them just say, this is the answer, this is the answer, this is the answer. It would be nice to have, like, an actual walkthrough of Cypher with someone that knows all solutions and can explain why they are the solutions. That would be pretty nice. One second. Enigma Cypher Guide. Okay, wait. Here's something. I'll show it on here instead. 1 second. Enigma Cypher Guide. There's a specific guide for this. Section 5 of the game, Mechanized Cryptography, is based on the workings of the Enigma encryption machine. The game has a very short explanation of how the Enigma works. Start as Z. Wait, hold on. I'm reading chat now. Start as Z for input-output. Move the scrambler to the left. Go straight down from Z. Arrive at A. Start at the bottom row of the scrambler and go straight down from A to D. From A to D. Use the reflector to match D with H. Oh, I see. You just gotta walk through for the first letter. Yeah, I mean, that's what we're looking at here, so I might as well look with images and stuff. This guide explains the Enigma cipher in a simple way. It's based on puzzle 1, but without giving away the whole solution. This sounds perfect, so we can maybe, hopefully, solve this one. So starting configuration. The row on the top represents the keyboard, with keys from A to Z. The middle part is the scrambler, also called rotor, numbered 1 because it's the first one. The bottom part is the reflector. We press the first key. The first key in the puzzle is Z. The first thing that happens is that the scrambler shifts to the next position. All the letters move 1 step to the left. What? But we're not pressing Z, though. Is this puzzle just, like, you know, put together in the wrong way? Because, I mean, I guess, I mean, it's very unclear. I guess we're not actually seeing the encryption here. We are seeing this is what, I mean, it said plain text. That's really weird. So, like, this is what we input into this, and then we get output. But that output would be the cipher, not the plaintext, right? Like, this is the plaintext in this case, and the cipher is the part that we're trying to figure out. So if we tap Z, it would normally go down here, right? No. Wait. Yeah. It shifts 1 step. This has been, like, altered, so Z actually... yeah, shifts over to A, which is U. U then goes to the scrambler, which becomes a C, is it? No, that becomes D? Yeah, maybe it's symmetric, so you always get the same answer going both ways. I don't really know. Start at the key Z. Go straight down to the scrambler in position A. The scrambler connects the matching letter. So it comes out A at the other side, yeah. Then the reflector in position D. Why position... oh, yeah. Right. Yeah, it becomes A, goes to A right here, not U. Yeah, that's where I went wrong. So it goes to A, and then this has also rotated? Really? Oh, no. This is just rotated. This is 1 step to the left. God, that's so confusing. one step to the left goes to D. The D connects to age. I see. Then we jump to age, which then goes up to, again, it has jumped, so it becomes V. V goes all the way up here, and again, has jumped one step to the left and goes to U. Good lord, that's complicated, even for puzzle 1 in this. Yeah, really needed some more explanation there. So, in that case, we do Y. We start with Y, right here, which moves one step over and becomes a Z, right? And then we go to Z here, which again has like moved a step to the left. So it actually becomes an I. Is that correct? Yeah, I think so. It becomes I. Then from here, yeah, it goes up again from I to then, again, age. And then age here becomes G? No? Yeah, is it UG? Oh, right. Yeah, you're right. It moves 2 steps over. I'm just making a mistake here. It moves 2 steps over because it's the second letter. I forgot about that part. Okay, so once again, we start with Y. 2 steps over just becomes the same letter, right? Doesn't that mean that everything just becomes the same letter and it is the same again? So it is UU? Or no? Ah, man, I'm gonna keep reading. Second key. Y. Yeah, also becomes A. But no, it ends up being something else. Okay, alright, so... yeah, the scrambler and reflector are now also offset by 2. Right, okay, so... we start with Y. It scrambles 2 steps to the right, so that becomes an A. We jump to A. And then 2 steps to the left. Goes down to C, is it? And then jumps over here to C. Which 2 steps to the left would be an S. Which is right here. And 2, no. That becomes Q. God, I don't understand this. I just don't understand this. This is just not possible for me. Start at Y. Down to A because it shifts 2. The scrambler connects A and A, matching letters. Wait. C reflects to U. Yep. U. U lines up with N. I'm not sure how you're getting that. How do you see U lines up with N? Then to reflector C. We got that far. C connects to U, yeah. I mean, in this one, it goes to... well, I doubt it's Ultra. It's probably Ultra. You probably missed one scrambler or something. It would make sense if it's Ultra. You need to go 2 to the right to counteract that. Oh, God. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. I can't understand this. It's just too much to keep in your head at all times when, like, even with this, like, this helps, but at the same time, it makes it hard to understand how it's shifted. Yeah, I'm not understanding this, and that's fine. I'm just not meant to understand it, so I'm just gonna ignore that, and honestly, I think that's gonna be it for this game. Again, this is not a stream game. It just simply is not a game that you can stream, even though this idea of, like, collaboration was interesting. It just doesn't work. It doesn't really work. You need to, like, actually solve these things yourself, taking a bunch of time, brute forcing everything, and, like, yeah, going through systematically, and you probably need a hefty amount of knowledge of this going into this game. So again, a little disappointing that this game is this hard. It's, I mean, interesting if you actually do enjoy ciphers, but I was really hoping for something simpler and more handheld the entire way to, like, introduce you at a beginner level, but oh well. I'm just gonna leave it there. That was Cypher. I am not coming back to this ever. Maybe on my own time, but definitely not as a stream. And we're gonna take a break and then swap over to some Eldest Souls for the first time. Yeah, hey, 55% solved. I mean, that's not too bad, right? Better than half, more than half. So I'm only half an idiot.